Did you ever consider splitting up? How do you handle online hate comments? After leaving Mormonism, what do you believe now? Okay, we are rolling.
Great.
And today we are going to ask Amanda questions that I gathered from the internet because it feels like a lot of our videos are geared more towards my transition. I thought it'd be fun to have a video primarily focused on Amanda. So this is Amanda, everybody.
Hey.
Are you ready for this?
I think so.
Okay, here it goes. I'm just going to jump right into the first question.
All right.
Okay. What do you do for work?
I am an English professor at our local university, and I teach writing and literature classes. Super fun job because I get to talk about books a lot, and I get to read my students' perspectives, which is always really interesting.
What made you decide to get a PhD?
I just loved going to school, and at the time we were trying to conceive, we were trying to have babies, and we couldn't, and that was depressing. So I just wanted to keep learning and going to school.
What did you study in school?
So for my master's degree, I went super practical and did professional writing and business writing. But my PhD was purely for the love of it, and I studied 19th century British literature and gender studies.
How did you initially react to Shaye coming out as trans? Did you ever consider splitting up?
Okay, so my knee-jerk reaction was intellectually, I understood what the trans experience was and that it was a beautiful thing. But on a personal level, especially with my religious upbringing, I wondered how it would fit into our lives. It was like a very big shock personally. But obviously we learned and grew together, and that's why we are where we are today. And did we ever consider splitting up? I would say we always had each other's best interest at heart. And so it would have been a possibility if it had been what either of us wanted, but we both really wanted to stay together. So it was never really a serious option for either of us.
True story. How has your relationship changed since Shaye's transition?
It was changed a little bit, but probably not as much as people would think. I mean, you're still the same person, but I would say what has changed is just you connecting on such a deep level with yourself. Obviously, it changes the way that I experience Shaye as well. And I've also just learned so much about myself and the world in this process. And we also left like Orthodox religion, the religion that we were raised in. And so there's kind of other things at play just besides your transition. But most things haven't changed.
How did your friends and family react to Shaye's transition?
Thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. If you guys are like us, you probably get a lot of spam. We get spam phone calls all day and too many spam and phishing emails to count. Just the other day, we got a PayPal phishing email, and it's so frustrating trying to figure out if something like that is real or not. I know that one of the reasons we get so much spam is because big companies can't keep our data safe. That's why we use Aura. Aura alerts us when our data has been part of a data breach or has been leaked on the dark web. It also gives us fast fraud alerts if anyone tries to use that data for our credit or our bank accounts. And it removes my information from data broker websites, so I get less spam. I also get things like transaction monitoring, a VPN, antivirus, a password manager, parental controls, and identity theft insurance. I get this all in one app and at one affordable price. If you want to protect yourself from data breaches and up your game with cybersecurity, then you can go to aura.com/AmandaandShaye and try your first 2 weeks free.
How did your friends and family react to Shaye's transition?
I would say there was probably 3 different ways people would respond. The first was just unconditional love. And that was always so nice to receive and kind of rare. Probably the main way people reacted was it took them a while to sort of decide how they felt about it. There was a little bit of shock for a lot of the people in our lives. But sadly, some of our family and friends no longer really talk to us. And I try to just release them from their obligation to us. And I understand that some people come in and out of your lives, and that's okay.
How has your understanding of gender identity evolved since Shaye came out?
Okay, I would say that before, I thought of myself as an open-minded person about gender. I considered myself a feminist, but you coming out and that being such a personal thing to our family, it caused me to think about things a lot more deeply. So looking at the history of gender expression and just how there have always been people outside of gender norms, and then just learning so much about this community and how beautiful it is, it's caused me to see gender expression as one of the most creative things we can do as humans. And I don't really feel like there's a way to perform gender incorrectly.
What are your favorite kinds of books to read?
I like reading just about everything. So I can't really limit it to a genre, but I think my favorite books all have an element of realism and really helping you to understand the human experience. I actually post about everything I read on Instagram and on Goodreads, and there's so much out there to read. So I'm always just trying to fit it into my schedule however I can.
My partner just came out as trans. What advice would you have for us?
The first thing I would say is just getting in touch with what works best for you, because it's so different for everybody and relationships are so complex. And this worked great for us, but every couple is different. And then I think getting support. There's a lot of support that's out there, but you have to really be active about seeking out that support and just coming into proximity with the community. I also think therapy is really important. Just having a professional and someone that can really help you work through a lot of these things that can be really painful and challenging is really important.
What are your favorite foods?
I love Indian food. I'm a big dark chocolate person, and I just love any fresh fruit and cheese, any cheese.
What are your hobbies?
I just like making things, basically. I love sewing outfits for you. It's been super fun. I love knitting and crocheting. I love trying to build things out of wood, just random decorations, things like that.
How do you handle online hate comments?
I try not to give them too much attention. I think the best way to deal with hate comments is just giving other people compassion, because when they come at you with that kind of hatred, it tells you a lot about the way they see the world. And that actually makes me feel bad for them. And so I think it says a lot more about the commenter than it does about us.
What made you decide to open up about your story?
I think that was really more of your call, because I wouldn't have really pushed you to share something so personal if you didn't want to. But I'm certainly not shy about my advocacy for the trans community either. There's just so much negativity and misinformation out there about trans people that I think we both just feel called to humanize it and share our experiences and what we've learned.
What is your dream vacation?
You guys, this is so embarrassing, but I've never been to the UK. I'm obsessed with it, but never been. In fact, Shay's been. You filmed a music video in Scotland, but the dream would be just to go for a whole month with the kids and see everything, the touristy things, but also just the way people live there. And I would love it. We gotta make it happen.
How has being a mom different from... How is being a mom different?
As I said,
how is being a mom...
How is being a mom is what you're saying.
Okay. How is being a mom different from how you thought it would be before having kids?
Having kids is definitely the best thing we've ever done. And
it has been challenging, but so rewarding along the way.
Being a parent, it's definitely the hardest and best thing I know I've ever done. Kids just make life so exciting and so fun. And why are you laughing? And there's also a lot of apologizing involved. I feel all the time I'll be I'm just a person, I'm trying to figure this out, and please give mommy grace. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can finish off these questions. I'm sorry. How would you describe your personal style?
I love wearing dresses, and I really like classic style, but I feel I'm drawn towards kind of quirky grandma details, or sometimes kind of quiche things.
Quiche.
Yeah, just kind of weird, little details that are unusual.
How would you define your sexual orientation if you had to put a label on it?
We've talked about this in a video before, and I think that it's interesting because I experienced myself as straight before you came out. I just never really thought that much about it. But once I really started digging into all that, I realized that I am attracted to women, and certainly attracted to you as a woman. And I think for me, it's more about the person. I have my person, right? So it's not I'm out looking. And so I think that either makes me demisexual or bisexual / pansexual. I don't know. It's all just language, but if you think what I just said fits one of those labels more than another, let us know in the comments.
After leaving Mormonism, what do you believe now?
This is something I think we could make a whole video about. But the short answer is I do believe in a higher power. It just makes sense to me. But I think religion, for the most part, is made in man's image rather than God's. So yeah.
More to come. Okay, last question. What are you most excited about for the future?
I would say just making memories with our families. Traveling more, just like exploring the world. There's so much out there. And then kind of more short term, the holidays. I get so excited like when autumn rolls around. Oh. So we're gonna have to plan some fun stuff.
We love the holidays for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is all the questions. If you think Amanda passed, let us know below. But I think she did a pretty good job. How'd you feel about that?
I feel like I'm winning.
Yeah, she's winning.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that's all we have for this video. Hopefully that was interesting for you. And yeah, until next time, thank you.
See ya.